So guys, we finally reached the 8th episode of BlazBlue Altered Memory, the best episode in the entire series. If you guys are watching, please like and comment, subscribe if you've been watching the videos prior already. So without further ado, let's get on to The Mechanical Soul. Again, the best episode in the entire damn series, dude. So the episode begins with Hazuma walking through the sewers, talking about Ragna's meddling in his plans of causing chaos in the world. Out of nowhere, Arakune droops down and attacks Hazuma, screaming, "Azure, Azure." Hazuma attacks Arakune and tells Phantom, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that she was here before, and send him up above. Arakune is teleported down and slithers away, looking for the quote-unquote Azure. Back at her lab, Kokonoe drops some coffee on her sleeves and tosses her Kaka hoodie, hitting the transfer button and sending Lambda accidentally to Kagatsuchi. Arakune arrives to her location and attacks her. This scene makes me laugh. Just look at it.
Danger level A. Imminent harm.
Anyway, Ragna arrives just in time to save Lambda from becoming Arakune's food. Arakune sees Ragna and begins screaming Azure again. Ragna strikes Arakune, leading him to slip back into the sewers once again. Upon seeing Lambda's face, Ragna gets defensive. Meanwhile, Kokonoe suddenly realizes that Lambda finally went missing and decides to track her down from the safety of her lab. Seeing that Lambda isn't attacking him, Ragna leaves her be, but rushes back to her while she's on the ground. When he comes back, he notices that Lambda is looking down at a bug-like creature. While Kokonoe is hacking into the NOL's mainframe, just to later learn that everything is down, Lambda analyzes that the creature is called a Tartar, and that Ragna says that it must have come from Arakune, as word on the street is that Arakune has a bunch of creatures inside of him. Ragna asks Lambda for her name, but she couldn't say anything as Ragna deduced that she couldn't do much without Kokonoe. Ragna decides to give her his name instead, and Lambda spells out his first name, grabbing onto him later. Since Kokonoe couldn't hack into the NOL mainframe, she calls in a favor. The scene cuts to Makoto and Noel. Wait a minute. Did Noel just sit there with Makoto and cry all night? You know, what am I kidding? Of course she did. Makoto tells Noel that she's been sniffing around and learned that Hazuma has no records regarding his past, and says that she doesn't trust Hazuma for a second, that there is something snaky about him. Okay, that was clever. Makoto mentions that Kokonoe at Sector 7 could take them in, but before she can elaborate further, all she says to Noel is to trust her, and that she can figure things out for both Noel and Tsubaki. Ragna and Lambda start walking together as he says he couldn't leave her alone. He has to rush back to her once again when he sees Lambda on the ground for the second time, watching the Tartar as she says that its vital signs are dropping. Ragna notices a cut on it and tells Lambda that it is dying due to that cut, and since it is away from Arakune, he guessed that the Tartar was getting nutrients from Arakune that is lacking, but Ragna commends the bug on from being a fighter for surviving so long despite dying. Ragna begins looking through the grass, so Lambda imitates him, tossing around random grass as well. Ragna tells her not to be so random and that he's looking for something called Aqua Leaf, so that they can use it to heal the Tartar. Ragna says that when he was training with Jubei, they never had medicine around, so if any of them got sick, the forest was their pharmacy, and that the Aqua Leaf should be around due to the light seether in the area. Lambda manages to find the Aqua Leaf, with Ragna saying that they hit the jackpot.
Theory. Huh? Subject is male. Males are rare. Therefore, he's worth saving.
You're asking why I helped? It's not like I had some big reason to do it. The way I look at it, I just let something that was alive keep on living. All of us die someday. End of story. But that doesn't mean you have to let it happen like you don't give a damn either way. You fight it, tooth and nail, you know? And if you can't win that fight by yourself, it's alright if somebody else tags in and lends a hand.
Ragna, did someone help you?
Yeah, a couple of someones. Wouldn't be here today if they hadn't.
Lambda offers Ragnar the Aqua Leaf when the Azure Grimoire starts leaving him in pain, but he tells her that the leaf isn't going to help that. He takes the leaf, turning it into a grass whistle, making a song. Interested, Lambda paces back and forth in front of Ragnar, with Ragnar handing her the grass whistle, letting her try it out. The song that Lambda plays is bad, but the Tartar danced along with it. Ragnar tells her that she needs to be more gentle to play a song, but Lambda wonders what the word gentle means. As the wind starts blowing, Lambda brushes up against Ragnar, telling him that she was cold. Lambda notices that the Tartar has died and asks Ragnar what she could do. Ragnar says that she doesn't have to do anything but keep his memory alive in her soul. If it fades away, she should let it, as she would have done right by him. Lambda asks what a soul is, and Ragnar says that he doesn't know exactly where it is, but it is something that makes you feel warm when you're happy and cold when you're sad. Ragnar tells Lambda that she was real gentle with the Tartar as she lays it to rest. Tager spots Lambda with Ragnar and informs Kokonoe about it. Tager takes Lambda and Kokonoe thanks Ragnar for keeping an eye out for her. Ragnar tells Kokonoe to let him know who Lambda is, and Kokonoe says that she took the 11th Prime Field device and put the soul of Nu in there, making her a living weapon. Kokonoe reveals to Ragnar that Lambda's purpose is to be used against Terami, and that they're looking for Noel to bring her into Sector 7 before Terami could get to her, because if he does, he is going to smelt her. Ragnar vows to protect Noel as he remembered the words he told Lambda, to keep something living, to keep on living, and that Noel should count as well. Meanwhile, Hosma and Phantom meet up with a sleeping woman with purple hair, opening her eyes as the episode ends. Now, for my overall thoughts of this episode. Honestly, this is the best episode that Ultramemory has had, and sadly enough, it's the best episode that Ultramemory will have for the rest of the series. Like, I just love this episode for the fact that this is what I really wanted out of Ultramemory, just good at character interactions and, just shit to happen. Ragnar and Lambda's whole, moments here may not progress the plot too much, but it's nice to see Ragnar come out of his shell more, and especially with Lambda. Lambda's a character who really doesn't know anything, regarding human emotions at least. And she's kind of, being this robotic tool under, Kokonoe, so it's nice to see her get out of that, even though Lambda's only been around for a few episodes. But it's nice to see Ragnar, come out of his shell more. Dealing with Noel, he starts to crack a little bit, starts to, stop being his angry, aggressive, edgy self. It just shows that Ragnar's a lot deeper and, more kind underneath, under the surface. So it was nice that this episode happened. And I like the fact that this episode kind of had to translate over well to the actual games. See, Lambda was a character in the main BlazBlue games that really didn't, have much personality in regards to Continuum Shifts. If anything, she was just a blank slate, until the very end where, Nu's feelings kind of came through the surface. And it was kind of an odd feeling. Like, it was like Lambda's death was emotional, but at the same time, it wasn't really Lambda's death that felt emotional. It felt more like it was a byproduct of Nu. And considering that schizophrenic kind of feeling, you feel like well, which one is it? Is it Nu or Lambda? Which one should I care about? That's the problem. So I like that Ultramemory did that really well. It makes you care for Lambda as a character rather than, getting this weird feeling that is it Nu in the side of body of Lambda or is it Lambda that we're supposed to be caring about? That's my main thing that I liked about this episode. It makes you care more about Lambda herself rather than just, this weird amalgamation of both Lambda and Nu. So, yeah. That's one thing I like. And I just like seeing Lambda in the episode in general, man. She's a big cinnamon roll. And I feel like Ultramemory gave Lambda a ton of fans to begin with. I mean, this is insane, you know what I mean? And I like that. I like it. I really do like it. And I'm just happy about all this, really. I'm just really am happy about this. Because I had, no problems with this episode. Even outside of the Ragnar and Lambda stuff, seeing Kokonoe constantly try to hack into a mainframe and fail at every attempt, and she's so sad she had to put this innocent face on and try to convince Tager in order to go get Lambda for her, which makes me laugh. Like, she kind of swallowed her pride for a bit and asked Tager for help, which I find hilarious. I mean, granted, Tager does her dirty work, but she didn't really, ask Tager in some sad attempt. It's like, okay, Tager, I can't do this. Can you go get Lambda for me? So I like that as well. Like, this episode's all around good. And that's the first time I ever get to say that about Ultramemory. The episode was good. I actually have no complaints about this episode. Honestly, none at all. I guess one complaint, and if I were, I guess I'd say one complaint, is Arcana himself. Now, Arcana is a character that doesn't really have much standing in the main BlazBlue plot. It doesn't really matter. But seeing how Arcana just droops in, attacks Landa, droops out, that's just... And funny enough, Arcana is one of the Calamity Trigger original characters. So the fact that Arcana doesn't appear till episode 8 of Ultimate Memory, which is baffling to me, considering they had to rush through the first 2 episodes of, Ultimate Memory, which are the Calamity Trigger bits. So seeing Arcana pop in this late, and now he kind of has no purpose, like, it's funny to me, because, like, the first time you really see Arcana is when Ragna meets him in the sewers, and then when he comes down, then Lychee's there, and then, Lychee prevents Ragna from attacking Arcana. Now Arcana is just here. So, I mean, to be fair, does anybody really care about Arcana? Honestly, like, I like the guy, don't get me wrong, but does honestly anyone give a damn? So, you know what? It's sad that he also gets gimped in the favor of other characters. Like, he is now at the level of Platinum and Crawl in regards to plot relevance. And, I mean, they weren't going to be important to plot, but as for cameo-wise, you see these characters once and never see them again, and that makes me sad. But even Arcana makes me even sad. I like the guy. It's just, oh well, you know what? Whatever. He's just there. Hazma makes him go attack. But it does give a hint that Hazma has something to do with the Azure, because Arcana attacks Hazma screaming Azure, Azure. So it does hint that Hazma does have something to do with the Azure, which I do like. Even if Arcana doesn't have to do anything himself, at least it drops a hint for what's going to happen later. So I guess he wasn't all a waste, But yeah, that's what I really did like this episode. I feel like if anyone had a favorite episode of BlazBlue Ultimate Memory, this will be it. And it gives a hint, finally showing off who the goddamn Imperator is, even if they don't drop her by name. So I like that as well. Good episode. Honestly, great episode. Love it. I'm out of here. Peace out, everybody. Before this review the review portion wasn't going to be that long, honestly. It's an actually good episode. I have nothing to complain and whine about this time. So that's it. I'm out. Peace out, everybody. See you all next time. Sorry, this is a thing I didn't get to mention in the video proper. Forgot to mention this part, but Hazma did talk to Arcana about him messing with the boundary. And funny enough, they brought the boundary up like about 4 times in the series so far and have yet to actually explain what it is. They just say, oh, you've been messing with the boundary, or the boundaries did this, or the boundaries did that. Like, they brought the boundary, but never explain what it is or what's its purpose in the story. And that's all I wanted to mention. I just want to mention that it hasn't been explained yet. Sorry about this end part. But yeah, I'm out. I'm out, guys.